Welcome to Debt Negotiator Pro. Now, Debt Negotiator Pro is it's a step-by-step 5 video course to teach you how to settle your accounts that are in collections. I know across the internet, you're always seeing never pay a debt collector. Don't pay a debt collector. They don't own the account, whatever the circumstances. And my question to you is this, for those of you who believe that. If that was a situation when getting approved for a car, a credit card, and most importantly, a house, when they're going through the underwriting process, if they see collection accounts that are owned by a debt collection company and they do not approve you for that loan, the reason why is because of that account. And a lot of times, depending on the timing with regards to what you're trying to get or what you're trying to accomplish, there's going to come a time you're going to have to settle out accounts. Now, I'm not saying settle out every account, but there's going to come a time where you're going to have to settle out accounts for whatever reason. And so Debt Negotiator Pro will help you with that. 15 years of experience on the debt collection side. I'm not on either side, to be honest with you. I love the credit repair side because I'm helping people and so forth with regards to that. But that's the truth of the matter. I got a question in a comment that said, hey, well, if I pay this debt off, will help my credit score. Another thing that I always tell anybody who is with me, I tell you not to get caught up so much on the credit score number, right? The number, don't get caught up in that number. And there's some reasons for that. When a person, same thing, I'm going to go back to the underwriting. Your credit profile matters a lot more than the credit score. If you just have one credit card, a $300 balance, you pay it on time, you keep a low utilization, you don't have any late payments or no collection accounts, you can have a 720, 730, 740 FICO score. But that doesn't really mean anything. I tell people all the time, I have clients with the 680, but their credit profile, they got cars that they're paying on that they don't have any late payments on. They have credit cards. They have personal loans and so forth within their credit mix. And with the 680 credit score, get approved for credit cards that people with the 750 don't. And a lot of that boils down to your actual credit profile. Now, I'm not saying the scores don't matter at all. I just say try not to get so caught up in those numbers. Because if your score is in the 4s or the 500s, chances are you're going to need credit repair. Or you're going to need to settle out some of your accounts. But Debt Negotiator Pro gives you the step-by-step method. It's a course on how to do that, and it can save you a lot of money as far as settling the accounts, as well as if you're going to hire a professional to do it. Typically, they're going to charge you a percentage of the total debt. This is a one-time fee that you will pay, and exactly what I do when I'm settling out accounts is those steps. So look into getting Debt Negotiator Pro. Quickly, let me go through some household items, some stuff that's going to help you guys out, the viewers, whether you're watching on YouTube, LinkedIn, or Facebook. Be sure to check out the information down below. There's a free letter bundle. This is to help you on your credit journey. You'll get a template for a cease and desist letter, a goodwill letter, as well as a pay to delete letter. That'll help you out. I've stated this before. If your credit score is in the 4s, the 5s, or 600s, the low 600s, chances are you need credit repair. There is a 20-minute free consultation. Down below, there is a link to sign up for that. That way I can figure out where you're at and see if in fact you do need credit repair. But it's 20 minutes. It's not going to kill you. And if you care about your credit, it's a great way to get started to figuring out where you need to be when it comes to your credit. So that is that. Two other things. Look at, I just put up a video with Tiffany Heritage from Heritage Tax Pros. A lot of great information on the YouTube page. Check that out. Those of you can go to the YouTube page. If you follow me on Facebook or LinkedIn, there is an actual link to actually watch that video. Next week, next Monday, and I'm trying to get on top of this stuff, right? I'm trying to make sure I'm organized and do everything. I will be talking about my American Express Platinum business card. the mistakes that I made a year ago with regards to this card and how I'm paying for that now. I'm going to go into detail with regards to that. I want to give you guys information, not just positive information and all of the great stuff that I've done. I want to show you the mistakes that I've made so that you can avoid those same mistakes and save you time and money with regards to that. And the last thing that I want to say, and in this part, I don't want to get emotional, but let me give you a brief synopsis of this. Pandemic hits. I own a collection company. I didn't feel comfortable calling people to pay a debt when I knew at that time, man, this was before unemployment came, before any of the stimulus checks. We didn't know what was going on. I didn't feel comfortable calling people to pay a debt when I knew that they couldn't pay their mortgage or their rent. Speaking of mortgages, those forbearances are coming up, but that's a whole nother story with regards to that. And that's where you're going to see probably a little shift in the housing market. But nevertheless, I just didn't feel comfortable doing that. And so I was trying to figure out what I'm going to do. I've always wanted to do YouTube. I've supposed to have been started YouTube back in 2016. I just didn't have the courage in order to do that. So I said, you know what? What have I been doing in my whole life? Debt collection. So I started as a debt collector. I was throwing up videos. I was doing videos like every day for some time on that channel. Not really expecting anything. Didn't expect, people to actually care or if it even mattered. But I said, you know what? I'm going to just try this. I'm going to put this out there and we'll see what happens. So obviously I was putting the videos out there. And that's what morphed to Clear and Strategic. After a while of doing the videos, I had a couple people asking me, hey, do you do credit repair? And I thought, oh, wow, this is another way I can actually make money. So I started the credit repair company. Still doing the videos, uploading the videos on YouTube. And just last week, they finally offered me for the partnership with them where I can have the channel monetized. I want to thank each and every person who's watched the video, liked the video, shared the video, anything along those lines. I want to tell you personally, thank you. I would have never guessed that putting up these videos and saying whatever it was would have morphed to where it is today. And finally, the channel being monetized. In order to get the channel monetized, you have to have at least 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch time hours. The watch time hours is what had killed me over the course of time doing the smaller videos and so forth. But I've made it there. Obviously, the partnership is not like it just happens overnight. It's like a month to 2 months of them vetting my actual channel and making sure everything's cool. But they gave me the partnership. That's what everyone waits for. Obviously, that's where everything starts. I still have a lot of work ahead of me with regards to this YouTube channel. But thank every single one of you guys who've watched the video, liked the video, and shared it. Much gratitude to you and building my confidence to actually do these lives and to do this stuff. So thank you for that. Now, in Debt Negotiator Pro, what I'm going to talk about today is the correct method to pay your debt. I'm going to go over some of the methods that you can do with regards to paying your debt, and then I'm going to give my opinion on the best way with regards to paying your debt. Give you a little sneak peek of Debt Negotiator Pro, which is down in the link with regards to my first digital product, 5 steps in order to do so. This is a small piece of that, and I'm going to explain that to you, right? So, in settling out your accounts, I'm going to give some of the payment options that when I was a debt collector that actually people did with regards to paying. There was getting a money order and sending it regular mail. Now, if you're paying the balance in full, which I don't recommend that you do, and getting a money order takes time out of your day, right? You got to go wherever you can get money orders. And if you're going to mail it, typically you're going to go to the post office in your local area. You got to stand in line, get a money order, pay for that, get the address, stamped envelope, and send it to the debt collection company. That's one way that you can actually pay it. If you're dealing with a collection agency that I ever worked for or that I've actually owned, if you were going to do the money order, I would request that you overnighted the payment. So that's another fee, $21 or whatnot, to overnight the payment with regards to that. And I wanted the tracking number. Now, if I gave you a settlement, I tell you this all the time. If you had $1,000 account, because you had Debt Negotiator Pro, you negotiated it down to paying $500, 50 cents on the dollar. And now comes time to pay, and you said that you wanted to pay, but you wanted to send a money order. No problem, you can send it, but there's a time frame on that actual settlement to pay that $500. So if I'm talking to you and let's say it's on the 3rd, I'll tell you, hey, that payment has to be in office by, let's say, the 7th. If that payment comes after the 7th and you're willing to risk sending it regular mail, or you think it's going to get there by the 15th and it comes after the date that we agree upon, all that happens is I take that payment, I'll apply it towards your debt, but you miss the settlement opportunity. But that's one way you can pay. Another way is prepaid cards. I don't know if Green Dot is still out there. That was a pretty popular one where you actually go to, Walmart, you get one of those prepaid cards, you can load it up, put money on the card, and then you can call the collection company when you have the money loaded on that card and you can actually pay. That's a method and way that you can do so. Another way is by sending Western Unions, and I don't even know if they do Western Unions anymore, or Walmart to Walmart. Western Unions, I would always push Walmart to Walmart because it was cheaper. I think it was like $12 to $13 to send money, and depending on the amount would vary. If it goes over a certain threshold, you can do that. But Western Unions and Walmart to Walmart, you can pay that way. Another way is a check by phone. So basically, you're on the phone with the debt collection company. They're going to ask for your routing and account number to pay whatever the settlement. Hopefully, you're settling out the account. And that's one way you can pay. And then another way is by paying with your debit card, right? You give them the credit card information. You got to obviously give them the security code on the back, the expiration date, the billing date, and so forth. And you can pay with your debit card. And then the last way is with a credit card, right? With regards to it. Now, with all of these methods of actually paying, I have an opinion with regards to the best way to pay, right? Before I used to always say check by phone because you have actual evidence that the transaction was paid and you can see that transaction through your bank account and you have the proof of it. Versus when you pay with the money order, you got to make sure you keep that slip. And like I stated, if you have a settlement arrangement, you have a certain time to get it in that office and you can't get it in that office at that time span. I can't tell you how many people will refuse to set up a check by phone or a credit card by phone and they will pay that way. Be late, will apply it towards the balance and still come after you for the remaining of whatever that settlement is. So it's key that you understand that. Now, the way that I recommend you pay is with an actual credit card. There's a bunch of reasons why. I know you're thinking, hey, Jermaine, that makes no sense. Why am I going to pay debt with a credit card? Why am I going to pay debt with more debt with a credit card? Well, there's some key things that you have to understand. Number one, if you follow my channel, you know the key thing is use your credit cards like debit cards. Only spend what you have in the bank. So let's say you have a $6,000 balance. You get them because you got Debt Negotiator Pro. You get them to settle at $300, 50 cents on the dollar. That $3,000, if you had it in the bank, you pay with a debit card, you get nothing. You pay the account and boom, you're done. You pay with the credit card that gives you points. Even if all you got was 1 point for every dollar, that's 3,000 points that you would get. And typically it's 1%. So you get $3 back. It's better than nothing with regards to it. Or sometimes, one of the credit cards I have now is giving you 1.5 points for every dollar that you spend on the credit card. So when you use the credit card, because you have the money in the bank, you slide the credit card, you're going to get something for that credit card, right? Some points, travel reward points, cash back, whatever the circumstance is. Then you take the money that you were going to pay with that debit card or with the checking account anyways, and you pay the credit card off, right? So that helps you out in that aspect. The second reason why I'm a big advocate of using credit cards to pay is because of the laws, right? When you pay with a credit card, as most people who have credit cards, they have zero tolerance for fraud. And I know you may be asking me, Jermaine, what do you mean fraud? I owe the debt. This collection company's calling me to pay it. I pay it. Why do I care about fraud? If you watch any of these lives, sometimes you have these companies, because you probably didn't get Debt Negotiator Pro, so you didn't vet the actual company that's calling you to pay, which I can't get upset at you for. The reality is this. If you owed on a Capital One account and somebody calls you to pay it, and you've already known that you owed, and you're like, you know what, I need to pay it, and the debt collection company calls you, they say a Capital One, so you think, okay, yeah, it's a Capital One card that I have, you're going to go ahead and pay them. Now, if you pay with a check by phone, and it was a fraudulent situation where that company was a fly-by-night company, they got your access, your information with regards to that account, and they weren't supposed to take the payment, they take the payment. In order to get the money back, you're going to have to deal with your financial institution. They're not on your side ultimately, because they look at it like, well, you gave them a routing and an account number. Obviously, you were going to pay this debt. It becomes hard. You got to wait 30 days in order to get that money back. Secondly, if you pay with a money order, it's just over with. Even if it was fraudulently done, a lot of times you call that number to try and get that back and say, hey, I paid them, but I didn't mean to give them the money. Your money's gone. You're not getting your money back with regards to that. Debit card is similar to the checking account. Even though they may run it as, most likely going to run it as credit, it's still through your checking account, your actual account, and it's going to take you a long time to get that money back. You do a prepaid card, not only are you paying the money to load the card and all that type of stuff, same situation. It becomes hard to get the money. They do an investigation, may take 30, 60, 90 days, and depending on a lot of these credit debt collection companies, if they're getting the proper paperwork from you, it's going to be hard to get your money back. But with a credit card, it's zero liability, right? So if you pay that company $3,000 and come to find out they didn't have the account because you didn't get Debt Negotiator Pro, and so you just paid them blindly because you knew you owed the debt and you paid it, and then come to find out you don't get a paid in full letter, you try to apply for something that's still on your credit, you have 6 months. You can file a dispute. And you know what most credit card companies do, 90% of them? They're going to give you your credit right off the bat, investigate it. And typically, if everything's fraudulent, a lot of times with those fly-by-night companies, they're not going to be able to get them back on the phone, and you'll get your money back. And if they promise stuff, you know, sometimes they'll say, hey, we'll delete the account if you pay it. You pay the account out, 90 days pass, and it's still on your credit profile. You try and get them to take it off, they don't take it off. It's a great way to go back and get your money. So that's why I say pay with a credit card. Yes, I know it is debt. I get that all the time, but we're not using the debt and just paying back at the small minimum payment on the credit card. We're using the credit card like a debit card. So we already knew we had the $3,000 saved up because you watched Debt Negotiator Pro and you budgeted for the settlement. You have the money set aside, you pay with the credit card, and you're good. Now, if you don't have a credit card because your credit's messed up and you don't have anything with regards to that, then a check by phone or a credit card by phone will be better. But just understand you got to go through the process with regards to vetting the company to make sure you're paying the correct company. And so that's why I say pay with the credit card. If you don't have a credit card, pay with a check by phone or a debit by phone. But there's some other things that you're going to have to make sure you get. And in order to get that information, you're going to have to get Debt Negotiator Pro. I want you guys to understand something. With Debt Negotiator Pro, a lot of times I'll come across clients and they're like, hey, yeah, I want to settle my account. You know, I want to settle out. Can you help me out with regards to that? And I'll say, yeah, I mean, basically, you know, I have some free videos. I have the best time to call to negotiate your debt, the attitude and so forth that you have to have with regards to negotiating your debt. But negotiating your debt is not just about picking up the phone and calling a debt collection company and paying them, right? There's so many other nuances with regards to inside of that, right? You want to make sure that you're paying the correct company, and there's a way that you have to vet in order to do that. It's not as simple as just calling them up and paying. It may happen that quick, but there's some things that you're going to have to do before, during, and after, a follow-up after, in order to make sure that you did everything proper so that you can protect yourself when it comes to paying off your debt. You would think it would be simple and easy, but it's not. It's not. Sometimes it's complicated with regards to that, especially those of you who have multiple accounts, right? You may have 4 or 5 accounts that you actually owe. And you may be only looking at one of your credit reports. You may be looking at Credit Karma and thinking you don't owe it because it's not on your debt. And then there's debt out there that you can legally owe that's not placed on your credit. And it doesn't necessarily mean you don't have to pay it. It just means that it's not on your credit. Now, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, I always say if it's not on your credit, don't worry about it. But there are cases. I remember when the first credit repair company that I had, I wasn't placing stuff on credit reports because I just didn't know anything about that. And so I remember people saying, well, it's not on my credit, and hanging up. And then 6 months to a year after that, I realized, oh, we got to put these accounts on your credit report in order to make people care. A large percentage of people care. And so it's not on your credit at that time, then all of a sudden it pops up on your credit report. But obviously there's a method. They have to send a demand letter out. And I know a lot of companies don't do that, but they're supposed to send a demand letter out giving you 30 days to either ignore the letter, which I don't recommend. You have to obviously get the letter and respond, because within that window, you can save yourself a lot of time. But after that 30 days, then the debt is considered valid, and they can place it on your credit report, and even at times come to sue you with regards to the accounts. And that's from debt buyers. They sue on accounts. So when people tell you never pay a debt collector, if they're suing you, you're going to have to pay. If you're trying to buy a home, you're going to have to pay if you're not able to get them removed off your credit profile. That's why when I'm vetting companies, when I'm vetting consumers, I do an in-depth credit analysis. This way I have your credit report in front of me. And if I'm looking at your credit profile, let's say you have 3 accounts, I do factual disputing. If I don't see any inaccuracies on that credit profile with that account, meaning Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion report everything correct, then there's not really much that I can do on the dispute process, and I'm honest. Then comes in the debt negotiation side, right? You can hire me at 20 cents on the dollar, 20% of the balance. So if you owe $10,000 worth of debt, I'm going to charge you $2,000 to set off that account. Or you can save yourself over $1,300 and pay for the Debt Negotiator Pro course. 5 videos is exactly what I do when I'm settling out the accounts. And there's some insight because I was a debt collector and I understand how they think. So some things to take into consideration with regards to doing it. If you're thinking about going through a debt consolidation company, Debt Negotiator Pro is the thing for you. If you're thinking about going through a debt negotiating company, unless you just have the money and you don't have the time in order to do it, hit the link down below, set up a consultation with me, and I'll do it for you. Or if you have some time and you want to learn with regards to it, it's 5 videos, step by step, exactly what to do from start to finish. Debt Negotiator Pro. And after you're done with this, if you do this, all these steps, and you learn these steps, obviously with repetition, you'll get better. So if you have 4 or 5 accounts, you can start with the first one. And then as you get going, you'll get better and better. And then you could teach some of the stuff to your friends and family. It's what I did. It's how I actually started Clear and Strategic, my credit repair company. So thank you guys with regards to that. If there's any questions, put it in the comment section. If you guys have any questions, anybody who's watching, you may be watching these videos, if you have a question about anything, Debt Negotiator Pro, debt or credit, put it down in that comment section. I'll definitely pick that up and get that for you. But nevertheless, Debt Negotiator Pro, don't let somebody tell you you don't have to pay the debt, because it's a third-party company. Like I stated before, if that was the truth completely, which there is some truth in that, underwriters would say, oh yeah, this account is in collections, you don't have to worry about that, I don't care that you didn't pay that one, and approve you for a house or car or a credit card or a line of credit or whatever the circumstance is. But that's not the truth. That is not the matter. And trust and believe me, I know people who were sued by third-party debt collection companies. I worked for a company that all we did was suits. All day, in and out. And we sued people on debt. And I believe from $1,000 and above. So, Debt Negotiator Pro will help you in that aspect. It'll help you negotiate those debts. It'll help you locate those debts. It'll help you save money with regards to those debts and make sure you get all the proper paperwork so that it doesn't bite you in the butt 6 months to a year to 2 years to 3 years down the road where you thought, oh, I paid that company, it was already taken care of. And then next thing you know, you got another company calling you to pay that debt. You have no proof and you end up having to pay it again. I've seen where someone said that they paid a debt. They had no proof. 2 years later, they end up getting sued for the account. And they end up having to pay twice. So, Debt Negotiator Pro, check that out. If you guys have any questions, put them down in the comment section about credit or debt. I'm going to go live one last time. Now, understand something. Debt Negotiator Pro, I'm not trying to scare you on this or anything along those lines. But the price is $197 now. One-time payment. $197. Lifetime access to these courses. And as laws and things change, I will update it and you will get access to that. But after tomorrow, that price has got to go up. It's going to go up. It's worth, initially I was going to sell it at $597 because I know how the great information that's on there and how much you can save. But on the promotional side of things, I'm going to do it at this price. But after that, the price will go up. And that's just life with regards to that. And it's worth $597. I'm just doing it at $197 to help you guys out, those of you who are watching and seeing this video. Now, if you have any questions about credit or debt, put them down in the comment section on YouTube, Facebook, or LinkedIn. I'll answer those questions for you. And like I always state, you be great. Thank you guys